Welcome, Christine Regan Lake here. So, today I would like to talk to you about your sexual blueprint. Have you ever thought about what your sexual blueprint looks like? Have you ever considered that your sexual blueprint is directly affecting your intimate relationship, either positively or negatively? What so many people don't realize is that we have different blueprints in our life for every category of our life. We have blueprints about what our health is or should be. We have blueprints about what love is or should be. We have blueprints about what money is or should be. And we obviously have one for our sexuality as well. So, the things that influence your sexual blueprint are not only the experiences that happen to you personally, but they're also what you observed in your environment. So if you grew up in a household where your sex was considered something shameful and you didn't speak about, well, then you could potentially have issues with shame around your sexual expression. I personally grew up in a household where my mom and dad were very playful, and they were very open about the fact that, that they loved sex and they enjoyed it, and and it was very playful. So it was never viewed as something shameful. They clearly had their values that they wanted to impart to us about, sharing your sexuality for your intimate, your lover, that you don't go around and be promiscuous about it. But it was very clear that in their married life, they had a vibrant sex life, and they enjoyed it, and they enjoyed joking about it, and they were relaxed about it, and things like that. So, as a result, that absolutely definitely influenced a part of my own sexual blueprint. You can't help it. It just is what it is, right? So, what else can influence your sexual blueprint? Well, your religion, if you grew up with one, and if your religion had incredibly strong experience, beliefs that they imparted to you, where you started to believe that, sexual expression was something shameful and it was really only something that you do for reproduction, that's going to influence your sexuality. It could contract your individual self-expression. So it's important to, really clarify these things, journal about it, only if, obviously, if your sex life is not where you want it to be with your intimate partner and you want to take it to another level, then it's important to understand what your sexual blueprint is. It's important to articulate what your sexual values are. And what people may not realize is that you may have a sexual value that you want for your sex life in terms of your conscious mind saying, this is what I want for my sexuality and for my sex life and for my ability to sexually express myself as a woman or a man. But you may have values at the subconscious level that are contradicting that actually cause blocks to you, which you don't realize, which is stopping you from being able to thoroughly express yourself in a sexual manner that is fulfilling. And obviously I'm not talking about things like porn, because porn is dysfunctional. There's tons of video out there, there's tons of data out there, the damage that porn does not only to you as an individual but also to your intimate relationship. And so I for anyone who may be watching this who does engage in porn, I really encourage you to do some research on why that is so destructive, how it's destroying, changes your brain, how it negatively impacts your relationship, and how it negatively impacts your ability to connect with an intimate partner. So what are some of the, and so then let me just finish that. So first you want to identify what your values are that you want for your sex life, but then it's important for you to get really down and dirty and do some hard questions about, well, what were you taught to believe about what sex is as a child, and then see where the disconnect is. And then what you have to do is you have to do the energy healing work to release the anchors in the body where that belief was anchored into your beliefs, anchored into your body, where you got that blueprint. And then you want to reprogram your subconscious mind to match the values of what you truly want in your sex life, in your intimate relationship, because you want to be in alignment. You want your conscious mind and your subconscious mind to be in complete alignment with what you value as an adult and what you desire and cherish for your intimate relationship. Because when they're out of alignment, you're going to suffer. You're going to suffer with being unfulfilled in your sex life. frustrated, feeling resentment, shame, things like that, and that's not going to support you or your relationship. So what are some other things that impact your sexual blueprint? Well, you may feel that you're voiceless, right? So I can't even tell you how many women I've talked to who in their sexual relationship, sex supposedly, is basically where her husband gets off and she doesn't, right? And sex is over and he's come and she hasn't. But she doesn't own her voice. She doesn't have the ability to say, "Hey, we're not done. What are you doing?" And, if you understand the physiology of how the body works, what you'll do is you need to communicate to your partner why it's so important for the woman to come first before the man. There's physiological reasons on why that needs to happen. And for anyone who's been in those scenarios where the man comes first, pretty much always ends there. It's because he's spent everything and there's nothing left. So there's real reasons for why a woman really does need to come first, and you need to communicate that to your partner. And if they're not willing to hear you, if you find your voice and you start speaking your truth to your partner and they don't care about your needs, well, that's a whole nother issue that I need to do a video on, because why would your sexual needs not matter? And why would someone who supposedly love you not care about what your sexual needs are? So that's just another thing to consider, whether you're voiceless, and finding your voice, your sexual voice in your intimate relationship and in your partners. Or another issue that could be affecting your sexual blueprint is, you just may have it where you just don't think it's a big deal. I have a friend who her partner said, "If I never have sex again for the rest of my life, I'm totally fine with that." And it's like, holy crap, wow. That's an important thing to know. If someone, doesn't like sex and has zero interest in it and is totally apathetic about it, that's important to know. It could be chemical, it could be there's just no testosterone. They might have low testosterone. Or the apathy could come from anger, rage, and resentment that person feels towards you for all the unexpressed things that have gone on in your dynamic, in your relationship, that you're resentful of. And all that resentment is basically just a sexual buzzkill. And so that could be part of what your sexual blueprint is, and negatively affecting your sex life and your intimate relationship. So what's another aspect of someone's sexual blueprint? Well, some people may feel that sex is the most sacred, beautiful gift God's given us, and they believe in sacred sexuality. And for them, their sexual expression is an expression of the divine. It is an expression of two people coming together and to being able to have a physical act that bonds the two spiritual beings together in a sacred experience. So, and if you're in a relationship where one person's blueprint is sex for me is about a sacred sexual experience, and the other person is very unconscious and it does not have any zero spiritual connection and doesn't want to engage in sex as a sacred sexual experience, then there's really a disconnect, and that could be a major problem for your sex life and your intimate partnership, because your values aren't in alignment. I wish people would understand how important it is to be aligned, to be in a relationship with someone whose values are aligned with yours, because values are the most important foundational structure to who you are. And if you pair yourself with someone whose values are not in alignment with yours, you are setting yourself up to suffer. And isn't that a shame? Isn't that awful? Don't you deserve better for yourself? So having conscious relationships where you are in a relationship with someone who shares your values is of critical importance. And if your sexual blueprint and someone else's sexual blueprint from a value standpoint isn't in alignment, you're setting yourself up for failure. So what's another one? Well, your sexual blueprint could be impacted by trauma. One or both partners might have had sexual trauma in their life, and that sexual trauma causes an invisible block, an invisible wall that is basically incapacitating you in expressing yourself fully in your relationship. Unhealed trauma is awful. And if you've had sexual trauma that's gone unhealed, that's gone unaddressed, then that could be causing you to be in a fearful state and unable to authentically express who you truly are as a sexual woman or as a sexual man, as if you are someone who desires a really juicy, passionate, loving, spiritually connected sexual relationship with your partner, then if you've had sexual trauma that is causing a block in your sexual connection, then don't you owe it to yourself? Don't you want to love yourself enough to say, I deserve to heal this because I deserve to experience the sexual connection at the most beautiful, complete, fulfilling level it's capable of? And so that's kind of what I wanted to share with you. So, those are some of and there's lots of other, it's endless, right? We have so many different experiences that make up who we are, but those are some of the most important ones in terms of influencing your sexual blueprint and what is guiding you in your sexual relationship, in your intimate partnership. And the more work you do to heal your wounds, get clear on what your values are and what you aspire for yourself in your sex life and in your intimate partnership, and the more work you do in terms of communicating with your partner from a place of love, respect, and compassion about what your sexual desires are, what your sexual needs are, and where, if any, gap there is between what you want and what is currently existing, the more you're going to grow together in love, in connection, or whatever. Or you may discover that you're truly just different beings who have different values, who don't want the same things, and that maybe it's time to part ways. But isn't it better to know, to get that clarity of, yeah, it's probably best to move on, or yes, oh my God, he's willing to do the work, she's willing to do the work, I can stay, right? Because ambiguity and not knowing is when you just sit there and you're treading water. And there's nothing more awful to the soul than to be stagnant and just treading water. The soul wants growth. The spirit wants growth. Your sexual energy deserves to be flowing and moving and growing and expressing itself. And if your sexual expression is suppressed or repressed because of wounding from the past, or because you're in a connection that is not in vibrational alignment with your values, then don't you deserve to take action on both of those things to be able to live the juicy, loving, passionate, fulfilled life that you desire for yourself? I don't know. You decide. So I hope you found value in that. Have a beautiful day. And if you are aware of the link in my description box for Operation Underground Railroad, I'm an abolitionist. I'm looking to raise $1 million for Operation Underground Railroad to rescue children from human trafficking. Every penny goes to them. So if your heart compels you to make a donation to them, I would so appreciate it. And I look forward to speaking with you again soon. Take care. Have a good night. Bye.